everybody. Thanks for being here for today's story. I'm glad that you're here in this special place to be with God. Just like where you are, this is a special place to be with God because we can talk to God, we can listen to God, and we tell the stories of God. And we know that it's a place we can relax because we don't have to hurry. We have all the time we need. So I want to say, may God's peace be with you all. And then your response is, and also with you. And you are welcome to share the peace of Christ with the people who are there with you, too. Today is the 6th Sunday after Epiphany. So if we look at our calendar, we are now on the last green Sunday. And next Sunday, Lent will start. So we are almost to the next season. If you have a candle that your parents will help you light, or a great idea would be a battery-powered candle that you could turn on. You can do that, or you can just enjoy this one. We light our Christ candle to remind us that Christ is always with us. When we gather together, whatever we do, the light of Christ is always with us. And so there's all kinds of ways to get ready to listen to our stories. I think you know most of them. Make sure that your bodies are relaxed and comfortable, and you're sitting in a comfortable position. Maybe take a couple of deep breaths. Focus on the candle. And then we'll sing together, Be Still and Know. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. So when we hear that song, we know it's time for one of God's stories, and I'm going to start by reading it out of the Bible. It's in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 5, if you want to look it up. And it's verses 35 through 41. On that day, when evening had come, he said to them, "Let's go across to the other side." And leaving the crowd behind, they took him with them in the boat, just as he was. Other boats were there too. A great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat so that the boat was already being swamped. But he was in the stern, asleep on a cushion. And they woke him up, and they said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" He woke up and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." Then the wind ceased, and there was a dead calm. He said to them, "Why are you afraid? Have you still no faith?" And they were filled with great awe and said to one another, "Who then is this that even the wind and the sea obey him?" So we're going to learn a little bit more about that story. This is the Sea of Galilee. So many of our stories happen by the sea that we just have to have a piece of it in our room to help us tell our stories. And the sea is a wonderful place. When the winds blow, the sea and the water can get rough and wild. But when the winds are calm, the sea is peaceful and still. One day, Jesus was teaching a large crowd. And the crowd got so large that Jesus had to get into a boat to teach so that everyone could still see him. And he taught them all day. And when evening time came, at the end of the day, Jesus said, "Let's go across the sea." And so they started out, and Jesus lay down in the back of the boat and went to sleep. And as they crossed the sea, the wind came up, and it started battering the boat. And the sea became rough and wild, and it was hard to stand up, and the disciples were scared. And water was coming into the boat. And so finally, they said to Jesus, "Wake up! We're drowning. Can't you see? Don't you care?" And Jesus got up. And he said to the wind, "Peace, be still." And he said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind died down, and the water was peaceful and still. And he turned to the disciples, and he said, "Why were you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" And they looked at each other, and they said, "Who is this person that even the wind and the sea listen to him?" There's lots of things I wonder about this story. I bet you wonder about some things too. I wonder how the disciples felt when they were in the middle of that storm. I also wonder why Jesus was able to sleep through that wild storm. I wonder why the wind and the sea listened to Jesus. I wonder how the disciples feel afterwards, and I wonder if they would still keep following Jesus if he didn't do all these wonderful and amazing things. I wonder what they told their friends and their family when they got back to shore. And I wonder what you think is the most important part of this story, or what you think the person who wrote the story down thought was the most important thing for us to learn. Now I'm going to change our light. I'm going to change the light to remind us that the light that was in one place at one time can now be in many places, at all times, wherever we go, whatever we do. Amen.